And ladies and gentlemen, just like that, we have a winner. Nintendo came in with some expectations on their head, and to be fair, we were expecting to see some stuff, or hoping to see some stuff, that we didn't actually see in this conference, but bugger me, what they did show has absolutely just won E3 for me, in my opinion. I'd be really interested to see Lewis's opinion on this, but as we said earlier, reacting to one of the conferences from earlier on this week, fried all our technical setup. So this is going to be a quick breakdown of that conference, a quick reaction to it, and it's also going to be just me, no Lewis or no Nathan, I'm afraid. You're stuck with me for the next few minutes, but we'll get through it, hopefully. So we're going to go through the big heavy hitters from Nintendo's conference, and there were some heavy hitters. And we'll go through them, talk about them very briefly, and the overall structure of the conference. So the first thing that we got was the introduction of Doug Bowser, who came on as... Well, he didn't come on as Bowser. They had Bowser come on. They did a little back and forth with him, and then he was like, no, I'm Doug Bowser. I'm now the head of Nintendo. Honestly, I thought it was really nice. Introducing him after the work done by his predecessor was always going to be difficult, and stepping up to that spotlight was always going to be a thing he was going to have to deal with. The way they did it, the humor of it, the way it felt quite natural and well played, it was a typical Nintendo Direct moment, and it was lovely. So well done to them for that. So then we started off with Luigi's Mansion 2. He's now got there's like an 8-player multiplayer mode for it, and a 2-player way to play Luigi's Mansion on the Switch. And just generally, it looks like a really cool game. His little animations are adorable. When he's scared by something, when he's timid around something. That was a really hard term, wasn't it? When he's timid around something. Sorry. I'll try and make that better. When he's timid around things, when he's jumping over stuff, when he's scared about moving stuff or platforming stuff, all the animations look absolutely beautifully handled. And there's a lot of character going on in that game. So yeah, looks really nice. Out this year as well, as we expected, but out this year. Really nice stuff. Then we got a really weird announcement, and I'm still not entirely sure what it is. So Netflix and Nintendo are partnering in some form to make a tactics game based on the Dark Crystal series that obviously Netflix is bringing out a sequel to very, very soon. This is weird. I did not expect to see this. Not bad weird. This is a Brian David Gilbert. What? Hell yeah. What game? Like, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure how it'll play. I'm not sure how it fits into anything. But a tactics game based on Dark Crystal? What? Hell yeah, what? That sounds real cool. Really surprised we didn't see Netflix on the Switch, though. So when they came out and said, hey... And they didn't do it like this. But when in the presentation, it was like, hey, we're partnering with Netflix. I was like, oh, cool. This is how we get Netflix on... Is Netflix on the Switch? I don't think it's on the Switch. I'll check that while we talk about the next announcement. Anyway, Dark Crystal. What hell yeah, what? Really cool. Next... Oh, yeah, so this was weird. So next they showed an extra bit of Zelda Link's Awakening. It looks amazing. It's out in September this year. It just continues to look absolutely beautiful. The art direction is stunning. The way the game plays looks really lovely. But the other thing that they showed this time is that they have this kind of dungeon maker situation where as you go through rooms or dungeon rooms in Zelda, the game kind of then saves them, and you can take them, separate them from all the other rooms in that dungeon, put them in a sort of grid affair, I guess, and make your own walk-through dungeon of all these different rooms. And in doing so, I guess the more you challenge yourself, the better rewards you get and that kind of thing. This is awesome, I think, for two reasons. One, it adds something to what already looks like a fantastic game. Link's Awakening looks so cool. So it adds to something in quite a meaningful way. Also, is this their way of testing a Zelda maker? Like, is this their way of saying, hey, we can make a 2D Zelda maker like Mario Maker. Let's see how many people use this. Because that would be fucking awesome. Like, if they didn't, obviously, if it wasn't like a full 3D game, but if they said, hey, go make classic Zelda games as much as you want and we'll keep working on stuff, that would be really, really cool. But yeah, the game looks absolutely awesome. And as I said, it's out in September. As far as I can see, Netflix is not on the Switch. So I was not wrong. Hooray. Okay, so the next announcement was... Oh, this was so cool. The next announcement was Witcher 3. It's coming to the Switch. It looks really nicely done as well. It's got a lot of character, a lot of beautiful scenery in that game, and it looks like it's been well preserved on the Switch. So yeah, take that game on the go. That sounds awesome. Next up was No More Heroes 3. Travis Touchdown came out. They did a whole wink to the camera joke about, is the Empire striking back? We knew that we were getting something No More Heroes from E3 because the gentleman behind them, I forget his name off the top of my head, I'm afraid. The gentleman behind them posted on Twitter to be excited for E3. I didn't think we'd be getting No More Heroes 3. You know, I thought we might be getting a remaster of some kind or one of the side games that they tend to do. This is just a straight new entry in that franchise. That's awesome. Didn't expect to get it at all. Then we got Konami publishing a game. They're doing a new Contra game, which doesn't look great. I've got to be honest. It looked pretty dated from what we saw. But they're also doing the Contra collection, which is really cool. Honestly, it's just really nice to see. Well, I mean, nice in as much as we know what we know about their working conditions and them as a developer. But, like, really nice to see Konami on an E3 show again. One way or another, regardless of what you think of them, they're responsible for like a giant set of IPs in the gaming industry, and really nice to see them here and doing something again. So that was good. Next, we got a trailer for Daemon X Machina, which looks good. Looks just as good as it did last year. Super Japanese action mecha game, very sort of anime cartoonish production and polish on it. Looked really lovely. Out this year. Dope. Then next we got a Panzer Dragoon game. Dope. Again, looked a little dated, didn't quite look as right as I would have hoped it would, but we got a Panzer Dragoon game. That's so cool. I can't remember when it said that one is coming out or if it did. I think it said soon, but I don't know that off the top of my head. Anyway, it's a Panzer Dragoon game. Really cool. Next we got Astral Chain, the other game that they showed off last year that had a kind of anime cyberpunk vibe going on to it. I think it was about like a mystery and detective anime kind of things. That's a really bad description. But anyway, that is also out this year, so the lineup for Switch is looking really strong for 2019. Then we got some really cool stuff. So then we got Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, which, you know, those games are a bit of a like a junk food game, right? Like they're quick and easy to play. They've got well-known IPs in them. But what's really cool about this is that because it's for Tokyo, I can actually see this having quite a large cultural impact. I can see people picking up Mario and Sonic at the Japanese Olympic Games. That's quite an important thing, and to see it being put so forefront in a Nintendo Direct, they're clearly aware, or I think they might be aware, that it could have that kind of impact too. So whilst it's not necessarily the kind of game that's going to blow your mind or make you jump out and grab a Switch, it will be the kind of game I think that is well respected one way or another for being there and being a cultural touch point. And that was really cool. So one thing I missed off is that we started the conference with an announcement of a Super Smash Bros. Character, although this one was pretty much already known by the time the conference was happening. It was a series of heroes from Dragon Quest. And what I thought was interesting is the way that they talked about Super Smash this time and talked about characters, which I'll get onto in a second, is they aren't just like featuring this new character. It was Super Smash Bros. X Dragon Quest, or Cross Dragon Quest. And that's a really nice way of doing it. You're bringing in these characters, but also kind of respecting their franchises, giving them stages. It's really nice to see that it's more than just, we've borrowed your character. It's kind of a more deeper working with the franchise. So we started with the heroes from Dragon Quest, and then we got another announcement for a character, and it started with Donkey Kong, which of course immediately sets the hairs on the back of your neck going, because they're rare characters, and it did happen. We got Banjo Kazooie coming to Super Smash Bros. This year. I jumped. I'm so excited to see this. I don't own Switch. No, I do own a Switch. I don't own Smash. This might make me pick up Smash, to be honest. I don't own Smash yet, and in that sense, it shouldn't be that giant an announcement to me. But the fact that Microsoft and Nintendo continuing to work together in this sense is really, really good. The fact that a character that is well beloved, has a long history in games, and hasn't been seen in a long while is being paid respect to in that sense and being put into things is awesome. And the more it happens, the better. And also just the fact that, like, Rare are back in some form on a Nintendo console. I quite like what Rare have done on the Xbox. I'm not particularly an elitist in that sense. I don't think that Rare belongs on one or the other, but the fact that they are being seen on the other again is really lovely. And when they announced it, it was Banjo and Kazooie are raring to go. It was lovely. It was such an exciting moment to finally see happen. And when I was looking at social media and Twitter, the buzz for this was off the chain. People were losing their minds. So yeah, Banjo and Kazooie are in Super Smash Bros. As of later this year, and I'm very, very happy to see it happen. It was awesome. It was a really cool moment. Then they did a one more thing. Thank you, Nintendo, and kind of funny, to be fair. Thank you, Nintendo, for preserving the one more thing at E3. It's such a marvelous moment. But it wasn't the one more thing I was expecting. So they did a one more thing. They said, before we leave, we have one more thing for you. And it's from a franchise that you know. And they started the trailer. And it kind of started as dark and a bit gloomy and a bit kind of atmospheric. And I thought, oh, Metroid. Oh, they're actually going to show some kind of trailer for what Metroid's going to become. That's interesting. And no, they didn't. They announced that they are making the sequel to Breath of the Wild, the full-fledged sequel to the latest iteration of Zelda games. And it looks really fucking cool. It's made on the Breath of the Wild engine, or at least in terms, it's made in Breath of the Wild sort of style. So it's got that very but very sort of cartoonish vibe to it. It's got I can't believe I just did that faux pas. That's awful. It's got Link in his blue tunic and get up. It's got the world of Hyrule that you see in Breath of the Wild is looking like it's going to be the world in this game. But I got a darker vibe from this trailer. The kind of, this is, go with me here, and if you agree with what I'm saying, please back me up in comments or something like that, because this might sound out of place. I got a super Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island vibe from this. Like the breaking of the necks of the characters and the lighting up of eyes, and breaking of the neck sounds grim. You'll know what I mean if you watch the trailer. But I got a super kind of Zombie Island vibe from this, and I quite like that idea that maybe the next... Before any of the conferences happened, I listened to a bunch of prediction shows, and somebody was like, please just give us an Ocarina of Time thing for Breath of the Wild. Like, make it the kind of, there's a shadow world to all of this. Something else is going on in there. Here's what that game is. And I love the idea that this is that, but it's got a kind of supernatural, maybe Twilight Zone-y kind of vibe to it. That's what I was getting from this trailer. I'm jazzed. They're going hard on Zelda this generation, it has to be said. Between Breath of the Wild being a big launch for the console, Link's Awakening driving quite a lot of hype about it this year, alongside, Pokemon and Animal Crossing, but Link's Awakening being quite a big tentpole release this year, and then work being done on the next Zelda game, which, if it's being done on Breath of the Wild's tech, doesn't seem like it would be that far away. I can't imagine that this is going to be the case of Breath of the Wild again, where we saw it in one form and it didn't, I suppose it could look totally different by the time we see the game in however many years, but we saw that they said, we're working on the next Zelda game. This is a tech demo for it. Then the game went away. Then it came back and didn't look like that tech demo. Then it was delayed and changed platform. I imagine this is closer than that. And that's very exciting, to be honest. The idea that we'll see Breath of the Wild is an amazing game, and the impact it had at the time it released was huge. And the fact that we might not only see 2 games come out of that, but 2 games on a Nintendo platform come out in that style and with that impact is huge. And that was the conference. 40 minutes. And they crammed all of that and so much more in. There was so many more things that they did. There was a Stranger Things something or other, I'm not sure what it was. Spyro is coming to the platform. There were so many announcements, and I've only gone for the heaviest of hitters. And this easily won E3, in my opinion. It doesn't even come close. If I had to rank it, it would go not Microsoft, Jesus. We've got Nintendo right at the top, Ubisoft a little below them, and then everyone else kind of trailing behind. To be honest, Nintendo ran away with it this year. I am very happy to be a Switch owner. I'm very happy to be excited for what is coming for the Switch. I can't wait for Link's Awakening. Pokemon looks great. Even Daemon X Machina, which is not my typical kind of game, looks really good. And just the kind of future for that console, especially in what's about to happen with a new wave of consoles coming in, looks so bright and so exciting. So well done, Nintendo. A well-deserved win at E3, in my opinion, this year. I don't have Lewis's opinion to share on this. Maybe he'd say, like, no, it was all shit and only Final Fantasy wins. Finally, Final Fantasy wins. We haven't had a lot of sleep these last few days. But I loved it. It was a really great way to end this year. And unfortunately, it does end this year. That brings us to the end of conference reactions for E3 2019. So I guess we'll have to look forward to doing this again next year. Thank you so much for joining us. If you supported any of these shows, it means the world. And we can't wait to do more content, make more stuff, whatever form it be in. Obviously, as Games Up is not what it once was. We don't release every week anymore. We kind of do it when we feel like... but I think that's healthier for everyone overall. So it's been a blast. Thanks very much. We'll see you in next year in one form or another. And we'll probably see you before then, but we can't promise it. One way or another, thanks very much. It's been a wonderful year. Well done, Nintendo. And the game and E3 is up.